What's up, guys? So back with you for Better Off Dead. Thursday, June 26th. I feel like shit still. I look like shit. The picks have not been shit, though, as yesterday was 4-0 on the show with all baseball plays. The day before that, 3-1 with all baseball plays. Could have been 4-0. I run a 7-1 run then the last 2 days. It's been pretty decent over the last week or so. Running pretty hot right now. Yesterday started out the day with a nice under in the Pittsburgh-Milwaukee game, and Misiorowski actually outpitched Paul Skeens in that game and got a little bit dicey maybe going full game on that one. Still hit on a 4-2. I believe it was the Milwaukee win there. So the bullpens held up, finished it off. Tampa, Kansas City under. That total actually went up. I recommended under 9. It was actually at 9.5 when the game went off. I'm like, why is this total still going up? And that game was not even close to going over the total. I gave out the under, so I was dead right about that. It was a 3-0 final there. I don't even remember which team won. Tampa, probably. It doesn't even matter. Chicago Cubs, easy win, 8-0. And then Houston Astros, easy win. Well, fairly easy win. They're up 1-0 for most of the game. But, I mean, you have them as a home underdog, so it's looking pretty decent the whole time. They padded the lead with a run near the end. They won 2-0. So the two sides both were shutout wins. I mean, it's about as good of a day as you can have, man. So here we go. Now that means we're going to regress today, baby. We got a shorter MLB board today. It's Thursday, so some of the teams are off, traveling, whatever. I am going to give out 2 baseball plays that are both sides. I'm not going to touch WNBA, which I have not for a while. I mean, you really don't want to touch these women for the most part. Most of them are ugly. But we're going to talk about a team that doesn't have all ugly players. Indiana Fever are playing today because they have Sophie Cunningham. I'm not going to say Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham is actually hot. Indiana, they're hosting Los Angeles. I don't know what to do with this game. Indiana's all the way down from 10.5 to 5.5, though. So that kind of indicates to me there's got to be some injury or something here going on. I have not paid attention to this, but there's no other reason the line would plummet like that. Is it Cunningham? Is it Clark? Let's see. Clark is out, so that's why. So now I would probably lean to Indiana for that reason, because when you have a team where their star player goes down, a lot of times you want to look to that team. It's the injured player theory, right? Because when their star player goes down, the odds makers have to adjust, and a lot of times they over-adjust, and the team, knowing that that player is out, is going to play like really hard that one first game without that player. So that might happen here. So there are reasons to lay the shorter price with Indiana there. And plus, Caitlin Clark, I think she's had multiple bad games in a row, and Indiana has still won them. So Indiana can play without her, and they're used to being without her because they were without her for a few games earlier this season as well. The only issue I have is they are coming off a pretty big win. They pulled off an upset at Seattle. Nice win there, and they're returning home from a 3-game road trip, which the return home spot in the WNBA isn't as significant as in some of these other sports where teams get like super distracted, but I still don't totally love it. So I will not really, I won't recommend to play on this game, but that's what we have going on in this game. The Sparks have lost 4 games in a row, but 2 of them were to Minnesota. One was to Seattle, and then they did lose to a bad Chicago team. So things not looking great for LA, although they did lose to a couple of good teams in there. They might show up for a game against Indiana, but it is also their 3rd straight road game, which is not really an easy thing to do, although they are only traveling from Chicago to Indiana for that game. And then in the second game, we have the Vegas Aces playing on a back-to-back, and they just obliterated Connecticut last night. Now, they're not traveling. They're staying at home, but they won 85-59 last night, which is a ridiculous final score. Connecticut, terrible team, worst team in the league, but Vegas, they've been struggling this year, man, so it's probably a good sign for them that they just annihilate some team, even if it is a bad team, but they might be feeling a little bit high on themselves coming into this game against Washington. The only thing that might still have them focus is that Washington did almost blow their season home opener. The first home game the Aces had this year was against Washington, and Washington actually almost beat them. So Vegas might pay attention just for that reason. And Vegas was actually a 15.5-point favorite in that game, and now they're only 8, down from 8.5. So try to read into that. I mean, I think maybe we have this line over-adjusted a little bit now. I don't know that we've determined that Vegas is 7 points worse than they were in that opening game. So the line might be over-adjusted a little bit. I mean, I don't know if there are injuries coming into play here. Looks like not really. So I don't really understand why the line has moved that much off of where it was in the home opener. But I don't think Washington is in a good spot either, because they just beat Minnesota, which is a huge win. Minnesota, one of the best teams in the league. Huge win for Washington. 8.5-point home underdogs. Minnesota, I believe, only have one loss on the season prior to that, or two at most. So both of these teams are actually in bad spots. We've seen a little bit of movement against Vegas. 86% of tickets, 99% of the cash coming in on Washington. Again, I will not be getting involved or recommending a play on either of these games. And as I have been saying, I'm not actually betting these games right now because I'm trying to conserve money, which is making me even more angry because I'm on a real nice hot streak right now and I'd be winning money. I'd be up on the year right now, by the way, after this hot streak, overcoming the horrific March that I had this year. So I would be up on the year, but whatever. Let's go to MLB, try to get through these games. A's at Detroit. I'm actually going to give out a play on this. On the A's as a moneyline underdog, plus 130. Fade the public in this one, man. I know how good Detroit is at home, but I think this matchup actually sets up to fade Detroit here, man. I know the A's aren't very good, but they're actually a little bit better on the road than they are at home. I'm pretty sure Detroit's down from minus 155 to minus 148. 67% of tickets, only 65% of the cash. So there is some reverse line movement coming in against the Detroit side here. And I think the starting pitching matchup is in favor of the A's. And if we look at what happened last night, yeah, the A's won. They shut out Detroit, so Detroit might want a little bit of a bounce back here. But Detroit, I mean, they actually used more of their relief staff than the A's did, even though the A's did use their closer, Miller. The A's bullpen is not very good. Yes, Detroit's bullpen is better, but I think the bullpen, I think we could have a cascading effect here with what happens with the bullpens, because we basically have an actual starter for the A's today against a guy who's not an actual starter for Detroit. So I think that can just kind of have a domino effect into Detroit's going to have to use their bullpen earlier in the game, and they're probably basically planning on a bullpen game. So I really do not like how this sets up for Detroit. For the A's side, Jeffrey Springs is having a decent season, at least especially by the A's standards. 4.24 ERA, 1.23 whip. And Jacob Lopez, by the way, did really well last night. Again, I'm surprised, but it's just, that is what it is. Springs has also been better away from the A's stadium, where they're playing in that horrible AAA stadium that is very home run conducive. Springs has been better on the road with a 3.83 road ERA. So this sets up better for him for that reason as well. And he's actually pitching well in June with a 23-3 strikeout walk ratio and a 3.12 ERA in 4 starts. And his team has won the last 2 starts of his. So he is actually in good form right now. He's actually pitching pretty well right now. Good command, not walking a lot of guys right now. He's only walked 1 guy over the last 3 starts, allowing 3 or fewer earned runs in all of his recent 4 starts. Granted, it wasn't really against any great offenses, Minnesota, Anaheim, Kansas City, Cleveland. So yeah, he's stepping up a little bit to face Detroit here, and Detroit is good at home. But Springs actually does fairly well against Detroit, although it is a limited sample size. But in 24 at-bats, only 2 of their batters even have a hit off of him. They have a 167 average and 551 OPS. So Springs is in good form, and his matchup numbers look pretty good here, and he has good home road splits for pitching on the road. So I actually like Springs in this game, especially getting him as an underdog here. If you want to go first 5 innings on this A's money line, I don't hate that either, and just avoid the bullpens, because of course the A's bullpen is really bad. So you do have to worry about that a little bit. But again, I think we could see this pitching situation just kind of cascade in a bad way for Detroit, as they have Dietrich Enns pitching. Who the hell is this guy? Well, he hasn't pitched since 2021, so is that a good sign? He's only made 11 major league appearances, only in 2017 and 2021. And sure, he had good numbers, 3.42 ERA, 1.18 whip. Okay, I mean, 27-7 strikeout walk ratio. He actually was fairly effective, mostly with Tampa in 2021. He had 9 appearances, and he actually did fairly well, and Tampa won every game that he appeared in except one, which was a 20-8 loss to the Red Sox. But all that being said, I still don't trust this guy, man. I mean, he wasn't going that deep into games, so you know he's basically going to give you like an opener. He's probably going to come in, maybe give you like 3 innings or so. And because he hasn't pitched in the majors in so long. It's like, what are you even going to get out of this guy? It's not like he's some young gas thrower here. He's 34 years old, so I don't really expect him to come in and just be blowing hitters away. And up against the A's, yeah, again, they don't have any track record against them, so they might have a little bit of an issue there just because they have to figure a new pitcher out. But when you see a guy like this who's in his mid-30s and he's barely pitched in the majors, it's not like he's a prospect or anything like that, and he's probably not going to go deep into this game. You're going to get a bullpen game out of Detroit, so I don't like it. I will go with Springs and Oakland, or the A's in this one, I should say. Plus 130, you can take it full game, or you can go first 5 innings on this and just go with the starting pitching. But that is the way that I recommend going on that, fading the public. Toronto at Cleveland. This game was an extra innings game yesterday. Teams have split the first 2 games of the series. Cleveland won in extra innings on a walk-off yesterday. Pretty dramatic win. Both teams use a pretty good amount of their bullpen, although I prefer the Blue Jays bullpen, especially in their current form. So when you see similar usage for the bullpens on each side, Toronto has the bullpen edge here, and I believe they have the offensive edge as well. So some edges for Toronto right away, and then you got to look at the starting pitching matchup. Kevin Gausman is pitching for the Blue Jays, and he has a pretty high 4.6 ERA, but his whip is not high, 1.13, so his whip is kind of indicating that his ERA should be lower. Like, what's going on here? Why is his ERA so high? His home road splits are pretty much insignificant, but he has not been pitching well in the month of June in 4 starts. Has a 7.65 ERA. Has allowed 3 or more runs in all 4 starts. 23-12 strikeout walk ratio, which is way too many walks. He's walked at least 3 in the last 3 starts. Granted, the last 2 were against Philadelphia and Arizona, so those are not easy offenses to face, but even so, he wasn't that terrific against Minnesota or the A's in the games prior to that, and it was not at the A's stadium either. So Gausman is not in good form right now. Against Cleveland, he does have good numbers, though. An 88 at-bats, a 26-6 strikeout walk ratio, 239 average, and 674 OPS. Santana specifically does well against him. We kind of always see that because Santana's been around for so long. 7 for 22 off him with 4 doubles, a home run, 4 walks, 7 RBIs. But still, Gausman, you got to figure out like which is more important here. Is his bad recent form more important, or is the fact that he does well against Cleveland more important? That's what you got to figure out. Tanner Bybee is pitching for Cleveland. He has a 3.86 ERA, 1.23 whip. He's been better at home, 2.5 ERA, which is where he is here. So the splits look good for him. He's pitching well this month in 4 starts, even though his team has lost many of his starts. His team has actually lost 6 of his last 8 starts, but a lot of it was not his fault, as he has not allowed more than 4 runs in any of them. So this Cleveland offense is really not helping him out. This month, he has a 25-5 strikeout walk ratio and a 3.86 ERA. Struck out 10 in his last outing at the A's stadium, where he did get knocked around a little bit, but he pitched basically the full game in that game. Gave up too many hits, but he still had 10 strikeouts and no walks, which still tells you his command was pretty good. That's just a difficult pitching park, really. It's a very hitter-friendly park there in Sacramento there. But Bybee, his numbers against Toronto are not good. In 35 at-bats, 343 average, allowed 961 OPS. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., 4 for 8 with a home run off him and a walk. So he does well against him. So not great numbers. So the matchup numbers are in favor of Toronto. So you have offense, bullpen, matchup numbers all in favor of Toronto. Pitching recent form, though, in favor of Cleveland, and the home road splits for their starter in favor of Cleveland. And the money is coming in on Cleveland, up from minus 110 to minus 129. 63% of tickets, 66% of cash coming in on them. I don't want to touch the game. There are just too many conflicting factors for me in that game. Money is saying Cleveland. The matchup numbers, again, give me a lot of hesitation on that, so I would stay away. Seattle is at Minnesota. Minnesota finally got a win. They've been awful recently. They just broke a 5-game loss streak. So a lot of times when a team does break a loss streak like that, it helps break that losing momentum that can carry them forward. But then again, they also shut out Seattle, and Seattle might be a little bit angry and bounce back from a shutout loss like that. Joe Ryan had a nice start yesterday. Both starters did well in that game. I was hesitant about that game if you watched my show yesterday. I thought both starters potentially might not do well in that game, even though on the surface it looked like a nice pitching duel. And it did wind up being a pitching duel. Minnesota used some of their better relief pitchers, so I prefer Seattle's bullpen coming into this game. Minnesota's bullpen has not been good as of late. And Seattle's bullpen, I think, is just better in general, and they're more rested. So I think Seattle does have the bullpen edge here. I give them the offensive edge as well. They have Emerson Hancock starting. He's not been great. 5.43 ERA, 1.43 whip. A little bit better on the road with a 5.15 ERA, which is kind of surprising because Seattle has a pitcher-friendly park. His recent form, a little bit hard to gauge. He's made 4 starts this month. Seattle's lost 3 of them. 4.98 ERA, 18-9 strikeout walk ratio, so that's not good. It means his command is not really on this month, but he had allowed 1, 2, and 0 earned runs in the first 3 starts. And then in his most recent start, he got wrecked by the Cubs. He gave up 4 home runs in the game, 9 runs, but maybe you could argue that's a little bit of an outlier just because the Cubs are such a good offense. It was, probably an environment where the wind must have been blowing out in Wrigley or something. He got tagged for 4 home runs, but the home run ball has been an issue for him, though, in general. 14 home runs allowed this season, so that's not exactly great. So I don't really know that we could trust Hancock, even though if you throw out his first start of the season, he's actually allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all but 2 starts, although he did get wrecked in those 2 starts. So he's a little bit hard to gauge. Against Minnesota, small 7 at-bat sample size. They have a 286 average, 1,089 OPS. Jeffers has a home run off him, and he has no strikeouts against him and 1 walk. So Hancock, tough to gauge that on a very small sample size, but I'm kind of leaning towards him not doing that well in this game. And he's up against Simeon Woods Richardson, who also has not been very good. 5.06 ERA, 1.46 whip. He was much more effective for the Twins in his past season or season and a half. This season, it seems like he's been figured out a bit. He is better at home a bit, 4.56 ERA, which is still not great. This month hasn't been great either, really. His team has lost all 3 of his starts. 11-7 strikeout walk ratio is not good. He's walked 3 guys apiece in 2 of his 3 starts. That's not a good sign. He's putting too many guys on base via the walk. That walk number is way too high, and a 5.17 ERA this month. Not pitching very effectively, and he got wrecked at home by Texas, which is not a good sign, as they are not a very good offense. Up against Seattle, he does have fairly good numbers, in a small sample size, though, of 15 at-bats. He's held him to a 200 average, but a little bit of a high 761 OPS, because Solano does have a home run off him, a couple of walks mixed in there. I would probably lean to an over in this game. We have 85% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the over, even though the total looks like it ticked down a little bit from 9 juice to the under, 8.5 juice to the over. I think an over might make sense in that one, even though Seattle's bullpen is pretty good. I think Minnesota's bullpen is definitely a bullpen that is vulnerable, and both starting pitchers, to me, I think are vulnerable in that spot. So in that game, Philadelphia at Houston. Houston's on the verge of a sweep over Philadelphia. Houston, hot team right now, and Philadelphia hasn't even scored in the series, which is insane. We've had 3 runs scored total in the first 2 games of the series, so this has been a ridiculous series to the under. And this pitching matchup looks like it's another very under type of game here, too. Philadelphia doesn't have a good bullpen, but the bullpen for Philadelphia is a little bit rested here. Houston actually used a lot of their bullpen yesterday to finish that game because they had Gordon was the starter, and I believe he pitched well, but he only went 5 innings. So that was factored into my handicap yesterday. I still took Houston because I still liked their bullpen. I don't like it as much here because Houston now has an unrested bullpen coming into this one. Philadelphia's bullpen isn't good, so if you like an under in this one, I think you might want to go under in the first 5 innings, but you're really going to be getting a low number on a first 5-inning total, so I'm not sure that it's playable. Christopher Sanchez is going to be pitching for the Phillies. He's having a good season. 2.87 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been better on the road, too, with a 2.54 road ERA. He's in good form this month, and going all the way back. Actually, if we go all the way back his entire season, I mean, Philadelphia has only lost 3 starts of his on the entire season, so he's been very good as far as helping his team win games. He hasn't allowed more than he's only allowed more than 3 runs once all season. It was a 4-run output that he allowed against the Dodgers. He's been very consistent as well. This month, he has a 1.93 ERA in 4 starts. His team has won 3 of them. 22-6 strikeout walk ratio, although he faced Toronto twice, Pittsburgh, and Miami. I got no run support in really the last 3 starts. He's gotten very little run support. So Philadelphia actually has kind of been struggling with the bats, which is kind of crazy. And they may again in this game because they're up against a really good pitcher as well. So we probably are going to see runs be at a premium early on in this game, man. Probably not a lot of runs are going to be scored early in this game. But Sanchez, he can't control the run support that he gets, man. So he has been pitching well this month. Hasn't walked anybody in the last 2 starts, too. Although, again, granted, 2 of those starts are against Toronto, which was the best offense he faced this month. And then the others were against weak lineups in Pittsburgh and Miami. Against Houston, I mean, they're not that great of an offense. Houston actually has decent numbers off him in 13 at-bats, 385 average, 1,198 OPS, but it's a very small sample size. And Paredes is the guy that has done all the damage, basically. 4 for 5 with a home run, although Guillorme has a triple off of him. But mostly it's Paredes with the damage there. So if you want to go for a player prop there, hits plus runs plus RBIs is what I always recommend, because if you get a walk, it can still at least get you a run or an RBI or both. But Sanchez, I expect him to still do well here. I mean, most of Houston's bats still haven't seen him. He's going up against Hunter Brown, who's been excellent this year. 1.88 ERA, 0.92 whip. Even better at home with a 1.19 home ERA. This month, 1.54 ERA. Has had a little bit of an issue with the walks, though, this month. 30-12 strikeout walk ratio. He's had a really high strikeout rate, but a high walk rate, although in his last 2 starts, his strikeout walk ratio is 16-3. So he has settled down a little bit. The Astros have won his last 5 starts, so they are getting wins behind him. Up against Philadelphia, not a big sample size, 10 at-bats, 200 average, 400 OPS. So one thing that I do like about these interleague games is that you get pitchers that aren't that familiar to the hitters, so that can kind of be conducive to an under as well, because the hitters haven't really seen these guys that much. They don't really know what to expect. This total, though, is dropping. It's flipped from 7 juice to the over to 7 juice to the under. 64% of tickets on the under. Only 63% of the cash on the under. I still would lean to the under in this game, but again, you don't really want to deal with Houston's bullpen with the fact that they kind of taxed them yesterday. Philadelphia's bullpen, not that good, so I would definitely be worried about the later portion of the game. But if you want to go under first 5 innings, you're going to have to go under like 3 probably, which is leaving like very little room for error as well. Although this series has been unbelievably low scoring, so it may still make sense. Like, I would still probably lean that way to a first 5 inning under is how to play this game, but it's just too much of a roll of the dice, man, where you're giving yourself no room for error with a line of 3 like that. And the full game total might even wind up being 6.5, which is very difficult to go under as well. The money is coming in on the Astros as well, up from -125 to -136. 54% of tickets on Philly, 57% of cash coming in on Houston. I don't really disagree with that either. I think Brown is the better of the 2 starters. You just have to worry about the bullpen situation again, but maybe the bullpen situation is just kind of a wash because Houston has the better bullpen, but they're less rested, so maybe it all kind of balances out. Hunter Brown is so good that I do give him the advantage over Sanchez, and he does have a little bit of the matchup edge there looking at those numbers, but not going to be a play. Tampa at Kansas City. Kansas City's lost 4 games in a row. They're on the verge of getting swept in this series, so Kansas City might show up here with a little bit of fire. Tampa Bay put together a nice pitching outing yesterday, a shutout of the Royals, a combined shutout, but Tampa did use some of their best relief pitchers yesterday, so they used high-leverage bullpen arms yesterday. Both teams have good bullpens, but I think Kansas City's bullpen rest situation is a little bit better because Tampa had to use all those good relief pitchers yesterday. Tampa's got Shane Baz pitching. He's definitely been a mixed bag. He's hard to figure out. 4.79 ERA, 1.33 whip. I mean, those are not very good numbers. He's been better on the road, though, as it's hard for some pitchers to pitch in Steinbrenner Field, man, especially Baz, because he is a pitcher that gives up too many home runs. He's given up 14 on the season, 8 of them in Steinbrenner Field, which is, again, a very hitter-friendly park. But on the road, he has a 3.57 ERA, so he has been better on the road, and this is a more pitcher-friendly park for him. Tampa has actually won his last 6 starts, even though he's been kind of mediocre in a lot of them. Has a 4.43 ERA this month and a 22-12 strikeout walk ratio, walking at least 3 in his last 3 outings. That's not a great sign. He's issuing a lot of free passes here, and he's kind of just getting away with it. He's allowed at least 3 runs in 3 of the last 4 starts as well, with a weird kind of outlier shutout of the Mets in there, where I think maybe I gave out Tampa as a play in that one. I don't remember, but he did walk 4 guys in that game as well, which wasn't that great. Actually, I gave out Tampa in the game against Detroit, actually, and Boz didn't even pitch that well, but they still got the win because I think he was up against Flaherty or something, and Flaherty did really bad as well. Whatever, or maybe it was might have been Mize, I don't even remember, whatever it was. But Boz, I mean, again, he's really hard to figure out. And then looking at his numbers against the Royals, his numbers are actually not good. In 26 at-bats, 385 average, 1,236 OPS, 4 walks to 2 strikeouts. Not great, man. So the Royals, even though their offense really is not very good, they don't have that much trouble against Boz in the past. So I think maybe you might want to be looking to fade Tampa Bay in this game, man. I mean, again, Kansas City does have a bullpen rest edge. I think they have a little bit of a situational edge coming out maybe with a little bit more motivation to try to avoid a sweep here. Lorenzen is pitching for Kansas City. He's not been good either. 4.81 ERA, 1.37 whip. But he is better at home, 3.3 ERA at home. So both pitchers actually have the advantage of the splits in this game. He has not been pitching well either. So both pitchers in kind of questionable recent form, even though both pitchers have actually gotten a lot of wins in their start. Well, their team has won a lot of their recent starts, as Lorenzen has 4 starts this month, and Kansas City has won 3 of them, but he has a 6.3 ERA and 17-9 strikeout walk ratio in those starts, so none of that is really that good. Although he has allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in his last 3 outings, and however, he has walked at least 2 in each of those 3 outings as well. So Lorenzen not exactly in good form either, but against Tampa, he does have good numbers in 33 at-bats, 182 average, 653 OPS. He has walked 5 guys, which is a little bit of a concern, but other than that, I think Lorenzen does have the matchup edge there, so I would lean to Kansas City in that game, but it looks like the money's kind of coming on Tampa, even though they are a road public favorite, up from minus 115 to minus 118, 69% of tickets, 74% of the cash coming in on them, and a very high total, actually, up from 9.5 to 10. So the odds makers telling you they're expecting this to be a high-scoring game, which is kind of crazy with 2 offenses that are not very potent. Odds makers kind of telling you they think both pitchers are going to struggle in this one. But again, I would lean to the Kansas City side. I think the matchup numbers are kind of the clincher in this spot, and you'd be fading the public and taking a home underdog if you did that. So I don't know where Zach is in our chat here, our Royals fan here, but he usually comments on the Royals here, and he might be happy for once that I actually leaned to his team this time. Cubs at Cardinals. Yesterday, the Cubs got the win, so I actually gave out the Cardinals in Game 2 of the series. I gave out the Cubs in Game 3 of the series, got them both right. Easy win for the Cubs yesterday. Neither team really used a lot of their relievers yesterday, so both bullpens are actually in decent shape after that game coming into this game, so we can see some high-leverage relievers available for both teams. Cubs, the big news is Shota Imanaga is returning from the injured list here. He's been out since May with a hamstring injury, and he's coming back, and he was definitely having a good season. He's basically the Cubs' best starter. 2.82 ERA, 1.1 whip. He was really pitching well, and he was even better on the road. He actually was struggling at home, but on the road he has a 1.19 ERA this year, so the splits line up nicely for him. Up against the Cardinals hitters, what do we got here? On 37 at-bats, he has a 12-0 strikeout walk ratio against him, a 216 average and 582 OPS. So Imanaga, I mean, you have to look and see what he did in his rehab appearances, because I assume he was pitching in AAA, rehabbing, because you got to get some starts under your belt before you're back up in the majors. But a guy like him, he's just so consistently good that I expect he's going to put in a good performance here. The only question is that when a guy comes back from injury like this, yeah, a lot of times you want to look to them because they're going to be pumped, especially if they're a veteran, although I don't know if we can call Wnba a veteran, though, because I think this is only his second season in the majors, but he has a year of experience, at least, over a year. So I think he's getting into that territory. But then the issue is, even though the pitcher is probably going to be back, like the team is obviously starting because they think he's ready to go again. Pitcher is going to be pumped to get back out there and pitch well. The only issue is, in like the modern baseball age, do you think that they're going to have him on a pitch count? That's the issue, because they don't want him to like re-injure himself. So they might have him go like 5 innings in the game or something like that and not actually get a full workload. So that's the one thing you have to worry about a little bit, although the Cubs do also have the better bullpen. So I think I still prefer the Cubs here. And of course, I prefer Wnba over Andre Palante, who's not been great. 4.48 ERA, 1.31 whip. Home road splits are pretty much insignificant. They're pretty much the same. His team has won his last 2 starts. Has a 16-4 strikeout walk ratio in June, which isn't that bad, but a 5.23 ERA, which is not good, although it was really one really bad start against Kansas City, but that's not a great sign because Kansas City's offense isn't good. He didn't do well against Milwaukee on the road either, although they have a good offense, but that was another start where he did not go 5 innings. So I think Palante is certainly the less trustworthy of the 2 pitchers, and his numbers are not great against the Cubs. In 33 career at-bats, they have a 3.03 average off him and an 8.63 OPS. So, yeah, I mean, that's all the information about that one. I would lean to the Cubs in that game. I think they have pretty significant starting pitching edge if Wnba is indeed back. And I think they have somewhat of a bullpen edge, and they have the better offense. So it seems to me like every advantage is towards the Cubs here. You are having to lay a favorite price, though, and the public is actually on the Cubs. 82% of tickets, but only 78% of the cash. So it actually looks like there's some reverse line movement going against the Cubs, down from minus 135 to minus 131 on the money line. So the market read is saying to actually fade the Cubs here. I don't agree with it, but a lot of times the market read is definitely telling you something, so I'm not going to recommend it as a play. I was close to doing it. I do lean to the Cubs. I think the matchup stuff for me like kind of trumps the what we see in the market, but well, you don't really want to fade the market, though, very often. So, I mean, sometimes I will, especially in baseball, but in this one, I will not do it. Nate, what's up, man? Toad Gentile, yeah. You parlay the 2 unders? Oh, all right. Texas. Did Texas win yesterday? I don't even remember. It did, I guess. Nice. I recommend against parlays, though, man. I mean, unless you're just playing, like, you know, for chump change or whatever, just having fun with it. If you want to, like, legitimately make money, books don't give you good enough odds on the parlay because you need a bunch of independent results to all hit. So I always recommend against the parlays. I would just play every single bet as an independent bet, just straight up. The books try to tempt you because you get plus money on a parlay and it makes it look like it's good, but the odds that they give you are not good enough to justify like needing all of those individual results to all hit, if that makes sense. But that is good that you hit on that parlay. My stuff has been hot recently, so. But again, yeah, I recommend playing them as individual plays. Dodgers are at Colorado. Colorado lost 8-1 yesterday. I don't know what else I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about this, to be honest, man. I mean, Dodgers are obviously the better team. They have the better offense. They have the better bullpen. Rockies are just bad, almost like historically bad. Yamamoto had a nice start yesterday, even though he only went 5 innings. Clayton Kershaw is on the mound this side for the Dodgers, and he is somewhat turning his season around, man, trying to make his comeback here. 3.31 ERA. His whip is a bit high, though, 1.32. He's been better on the road, though, the 1.5 ERA, but he is having to pitch at Coors Field here. He actually has not allowed any home runs on the road so far this season, but Coors Field is obviously a home run conducive ballpark, but he hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start going all the way back to his first start of the season. Granted, he's had some shortened starts, but he's pitched pretty well for the most part, especially given, he's coming back from injuries, 37 years old. He's kind of figuring out how to use, his stuff now that his stuff isn't as fantastic as it used to be. Dodgers have won 4 starts in a row of his. That's a decent sign. 18-6 strikeout walk ratio in those 4 starts this month with a 2.49 ERA. So Kershaw is actually in okay form right now. And his numbers, of course, are good against Colorado in the past. In 60 at-bats, 18-4 strikeout walk ratio, 200 average, 533 OPS allowed. So Kershaw may very well put in another good performance here, although at Colorado, maybe a little bit risky. He's, of course, the better pitcher over Austin Gomber, who has not been good. 8.38 ERA, 1.66 whip. I believe he just came back off of injury. He started the season delayed, and he actually had a shutout. But, of course, it was not at Coors Field. He had a shutout for 5 innings against Atlanta. Then he came back to Coors Field, and he got absolutely demolished by Arizona, who is a good hitting team. But it might happen again here because the Dodgers are also a good hitting team. So his one home start was terrible. Against the Dodgers, their hitting numbers are pretty good against him. In 94 at-bats, he has a 14-14 strikeout walk ratio, which is certainly not good. He's allowed 6 home runs. Ohtani is 4 for 11 with 2 home runs and a triple. So Ohtani, I mean, you're probably having to pay a bit of a price for him to play player props on him, but it does look like the matchup is pretty good for him and for Freddie Freeman, 6 for 14 with 2 home runs. And Mookie Betts is 3 for 7 with a home run and 3 walks. So actually the usual suspects, the guys that you would most want to bet on, the 3 top hitters on the Dodgers, all actually do hit Gomber well. And against the Dodgers, he has 287 career average against and a 912 OPS. So that is not good. So the Dodgers should win this game, but you're laying a price for it. They're up for -2 or down from -280 to -275, excuse me. 86% of tickets, 97% of the cash on them. I don't want to do anything with this, and the total is skyrocketing. I'm from 11.5 to 12, even though it is a Kershaw game. I mean, like I said yesterday, the way that I recommended playing it, if you have to play this game, yesterday was Dodgers team total over, and that might just be the way to play this again here. Just play the Dodgers to score a lot of runs, although, again, you're probably going to have to you might even have to go over 7 runs here, though, which is a lot to ask of them, although they might be able to do it because Colorado's pitching is that bad. We will see, but man, that is a high total. Public is actually on the over, 84% of tickets and only 82% of the cash, which surprises me a little bit, although I guess, it's a Dodgers game in Coors Field. Public thinks over, even though they do see Kershaw listed as a starter. It's an interesting matchup, though. Then we got Miami and San Francisco. San Francisco has not won either of the games of the series so far. San Francisco has also used a lot of their relief pitchers. So they used a bunch of guys in relief yesterday. It went 10 innings, although they only used Hiel, however you pronounce his name, for 1 pitch. So he's obviously available again today if they want. Marlins used 4 of their relief pitchers. So the Giants used more of their bullpen yesterday, but of course the Giants have the better bullpen over Miami. Although the Giants bullpen has struggled a little bit very recently. The starting pitching matchup in this game is really, really hard to figure out with Jansen Junk pitching for Miami. Ridiculous name. And is he a junk pitcher? Probably, meaning he does not throw very hard. He's got a 2.6 ERA and 1.01 whip on the season, which is not bad, obviously. He's been a bit worse on the road with a 3.68 ERA on the road. He's actually been getting, I don't really want to say a starter's workload, but he's gone at least 4 innings in every one of his outings this year. So they're kind of letting him go deep into games, and he's actually pitching efficiently with his pitches, so that's at least something. And this month in 4 starts, he actually does have a 3.38 ERA and a 16-1 strikeout walk ratio. So he actually has been in command of his pitches, which is a decent sign. Hasn't faced great offenses. Atlanta is the best offense he's faced all year. He did do well in that start too, though. 5 innings, 1 earned run allowed, 5 strikeouts, no walks. He actually did face San Francisco already, so they are recently familiar with him because they saw him at the end of May. He pitched 4 innings of shutout ball against them, though, with 5 strikeouts, no walks. So he actually had a decent performance in that one, too. Junk, or maybe it's pronounced Yunk, I don't know, against the Giants. They're only 1 for 12 off him lifetime with no extra base hits, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. So he has a very clean sheet against the Giants. 0.83 average allowed and 167 OPS. And you know that the Giants, their offense has really not been that great for a while now. So Junk actually might have a decent-looking matchup here, and he's going to be opposed by Hayden Birdsong, who has a 3.25 ERA, but a somewhat high 1.33 whip. Don't love his whip. He's been better at home, 2.73 ERA at home. Not really in the greatest form recently with a 4.5 ERA in 4 starts in June. 20-8 strikeout walk ratio. He's kind of been alternating how deep he's gone into games where he has gone 5 innings and failed to go 5 innings, and he went 5 innings again, or more than 5, and then failed to go 5 innings in the last one against the Red Sox. So very difficult to say what we want to do with Birdsong. I mean, he's kind of alternating good and bad starts. He's not in great form right now, but he's up against a bad Miami offense, and they don't have good numbers off him in 21 at-bats. 5 strikeouts, no walks, 238 average, allowed 571 OPS. So I would probably go first 5 inning under in this game. I think you might be getting some value with 2 starting pitchers that nobody knows who the hell they are, but you have 2 offenses that are not very good. I don't really want to deal with the bullpens because Miami's bullpen is bad. Giants' bullpen is pretty used up right now, but first 5 inning under might be worth a look here. 72% of tickets, 96% of the cash on the under. Totals flip from 8 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under on the full game. You're probably looking at it going under about 4.5 in the first 5 innings, which is a reasonable number. So that might be the way I would look there, especially with the Giants just play a lot of under games as well, even still. So probably the way that I would look, but I don't know that you can really totally trust either pitcher either. Anthony, what's up, man? If Miami sweeps the Giants, they win the next couple series, does that change velocity? Maybe they can buyers. I don't even know, man. Buyers, or are they sellers at the deadline still? Miami, I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere this season, right? Like, what's their record? I don't think it's going to matter that much. I mean, yeah, they're awful, man. They're 12 games below 500. They're not going anywhere. So they sweep the Giants, whatever, and then who do they play next? I don't know. That would be their first series win in a while. Or no, they actually beat Atlanta. My mistake. They did beat Atlanta. And I guess I remember they swept Washington a while back. This Miami team is still bad. They're going to Arizona next after this. I mean, they're unlikely to win that series. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of difficult matchups coming up for the most part. I don't see Miami going anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do at the trade deadline. They might sell. I mean, I could see them trying to deal like Alcantara or something like that. Because, I don't think Miami's going anywhere here. Yeah, and San Francisco, is a big favorite here, by the way. Up from minus 165 to minus 183 because, of course, they are still the better team over Miami. 82% of tickets, 69% of the cash, though. So the odds makers have thrown a high number up there on money line on San Francisco, and it seems like the bettors, the professional bettors, seem to think that the line is too high, and I don't really disagree with that because, again, San Francisco's offense is really not that powerful, so if it's going to be a lower-scoring game, could be a closer game, and it means there is a little bit more value in the underdog because they have a better chance to win in a low-scoring game like that. So do with all that information what you will, and then to finish this off, I'm going to give out a play on the Atlanta Braves, minus 104. I like how this matchup looks for Atlanta here. I don't even know. My mind is going everywhere, man. I don't even know what I was about to say, but I like how this matchup like kind of shakes out for Atlanta here. The Mets did finally end another loss streak of theirs. They lost 3 games in a row, and they finally won yesterday 7-3. But if you look at what happened in this game, the Mets used a lot of their relief pitchers, man. And sure, they have the better bullpen, but their bullpen hasn't been that impressive recently, and they used 5 relief pitchers yesterday, including their closer, Diaz. Although, granted, he only made 4 pitches, so he's probably available again today, but he'll have to pitch 2 games in a row, whereas the Braves did not use a lot of their bullpen as they used Bummer and Cox to just eat up the innings, as Fuentes didn't do well, unfortunately, didn't go deep into the game. So the Braves, I think, have a little bit of a bullpen edge here, man. I mean, their bullpen is the lesser of the two, but they have a bullpen rest advantage here, and I think they have a starting pitching edge with Grant Holmes on the mound. He's having a pretty decent season, 3.71 ERA, 1.22 whip. I know he is better at home, so that is a concern. He has a 4.58 road ERA, but he's only allowed a 194 opponent batting average on the road, so that is a really low opponent batting average, so it's really, the walk number and the home run number is a little bit higher on the road than at home, so he's been a little bit more wild on the road, basically, has really been his issue there as far as his ERA is concerned, but he's pitching pretty well in the month of June, even though his team has lost 3 of his 4 starts. He had a 15 strikeout outing 2 starts ago, 33-12 strikeout walk ratio this month, ridiculously high strikeout rate for a 20 and 2/3 innings pitch. He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning, which is a good sign. But the walk number is high. I mean, he did walk 5 guys in his last outing against a bad Miami offense, but he still kept them completely off the board. As far as the runs are concerned, he still shut them out for 5 innings. So I still think he's in okay form right now. And he's got pretty good numbers against the Mets in a very small sample size, so they're not that familiar with him. They only have 8 at-bats off him, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. So that's a high strikeout rate again there, 125 average. 347 OPS. Plus, I just like Holmes' mullet that he has going on, man. He looks like Rod Beck or something with a Fu Manchu. It looks like he's out there, spitting tobacco and swilling beer. I mean, this is what a baseball player should look like, bro. So I like Holmes, for all those reasons there. I think he has the matchup edge here. And Atlanta, he has not faced the Mets this year either. So the Mets do not have any recent familiarity with him either. He's up against Griffin Canning, who I think is starting to regress here, which I expected because I don't think he's a very good pitcher. He was awful when he was on Anaheim, and he has been a little bit better with the Mets, but recently he has not been good. His 3.91 ERA is good, but a 1.41 whip is bad. I mean, that is way too high. You can't put almost 1.5 guys on base an inning, man, and get away with it. And he's been way worse at home. So you want to talk about Holmes not being on the right side of the splits here? Griffin Canning's not on the right side of the splits either. 4.95 ERA at home. That's not good. His walk rate is way higher at home. So that's been an issue for him at home. This month he's been bad. Even though his team has won 3 of his 4 starts, he's getting run support in some of these, and he has a 5.66 ERA, 17-10 strikeout walk ratio. That is not a good sign. Multiple walks in each of his last 3 starts. One of the starts against Tampa was not even good, which was at the Met Stadium, too. He didn't even make it 5 innings in that one. Sure, he faced the Dodgers and actually did well in that start, and he faced Philly. Didn't really do that well in that start. Those are good offenses, but even so, Griffin Canning, he's been struggling, man. His last 2 starts in May weren't good either. Going 2 2/3 and 3 innings in those. One against the White Sox, which is a really bad sign. You can give him a pass for a bad start against the Dodgers, but I don't like how this looks for Griffin Canning, man. Against the Braves, he does not have good numbers historically. 46 career bats against him. 11-2 strikeout walk ratio is good, but they got 4 home runs off him, although all of them are Olsen and Ozuna. Ozuna's 4 for 5 off him with 2 home runs. Harris, by the way, 3 for 3 off him with a double, so you could look for some player props there as well. But overall, he's allowed a 326 average and 985 OPS against Atlanta. So I like Atlanta here, man. And we're going with a market read here. The market read looks to be in agreement with me here as the Mets has 66% of tickets. It's like the public, the Mets finally won a game now? Well, they're back, baby, right? The Mets have the better record. Atlanta has a below 500 record. It's a very short price here, up from -105 to -108 on the Mets. So, of course, the public is going to be like, it's pick the winner. Of course we're going to pick the Mets here. Not so fast, I say. 67% of the cash is on the other side on Atlanta. So it looks like the cash is coming in on the other side. So both market reads seem to be in agreement with me, although, actually, Detroit does have the cash percentage on them now, but whatever. That's going to do it, man. Those are the 2 plays today. We're going to go with the A's on the money line, plus 130, or if you want to go first 5 innings, you could do that as well. Atlanta Braves, money line as well, -104. It's a short Thursday board, so let's get some more wins. Let's get it done. I've been hot. We're on a 7-1 run. Let's keep it going. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. And, Learn to Toad on Twitter for me. Learn to Toad. Excuse me. I can't even speak. The Give, Send, Go is still up. My fundraiser for my cancellation, givesendgo.com/TowerGameToad. If you do want to support me here, you can tip me through Twitter as well. Twitter denied my subscriptions, so that's great. I think that's about it, man. Tower Gang, don't know if it's ever going to come back, but you can still support the Patreon, patreon.com/Tower Gang. No new content, though, obviously, but you will get the old bonus content is all still out there for you if you do want that. That's going to do it. Happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and peace.